Welcome to season 2 of the Bigger Than You podcast, your go-to weekly podcast that blends energetics and mindset to help you do whatever it takes to bring your vision to life, whilst having fun on the way. I'm Jenna Holloway, your host and multi-award-winning intuitive hypnotherapist and mindset coach. My purpose is to help mission-led business owners and visionaries who want to inspire change by leading the way in a space that otherwise may feel unnerving and too difficult. This is Bigger Than You. Welcome back. And today I am really excited to share an incredible woman with you. I just feel that it's going to be special. And I know that Gennye will do a much better job of introducing herself and what she does. So I'm going to pass it straight over to you, Gennye.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenna, for having me here. So I'm really delighted to talking to all of you. So I'm Gennye Lion Rainbow Anderzon. I am a New Earth mentor. So I do healing, channeling, I do business mentorship for spiritual entrepreneurs. And yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of the entrepreneurial community, to change the world together. So thank you so much for having me here. I've been doing this for about 20 years. So yeah, I'm kind of one of the oldie ones.
First of all, I feel like I know my audience pretty well. So they will hear that and they'll be like, well, what is New Earth? So please could you explain New Earth?
Yeah. Okay, so I think New Earth, that started with, Eckhart Tolle. He released a book called New Earth or The New Earth or something like that. And he was then start to talk about, talking about finding your purpose, which is actually what it's all about. So New Earth just means that we, as a collective, we work towards the greater good for all as opposed for self-gain. Mm-hmm. So when we do that, it means that we can all thrive because we will all benefit and thrive from the actions that we do. That includes the collective. Obviously, you have to look after yourself, make sure you can pay bills and do those things. Like it's just basic stuff, of course. But when you get deeper into entrepreneurship and you maybe been going for a while, you understand that the collective is something that you may want to work for because it's for the generations to come. And you can extend that for as far as you want, really. Some people work with charities and some people just spread their message about changing the world and thoughts and consciousness, but really it's all about collective change as opposed to ego or self-gain.
Yeah. And it's like you are completely supposed to be here on this podcast, because the reason I called this Bigger Than You is because it's for the listener who just feels like they have this higher purpose, that they're here for a reason. And so, yeah, this is why we're calling this episode Surrendering to Your Higher Calling. And I guess the first question or second question I'd love to ask you is, how do we surrender when we have bills to pay or when we...
This is such a big question.
Yeah, like how do we surrender when we know what our higher calling is, but we have no idea how to get there? Or we've got the stress and the responsibilities of paying the bills and things. How do we actually surrender?
Okay, so we can talk about it from a practical perspective and from a higher perspective as well. So let's start with the practical because it makes people feel safe and grounded.
Yes.
So if you are in a period of transition and you know that you have a high calling, you've started to take action and exploring new areas within maybe your entrepreneurship, but wherever you are, you're on your way doing that, but you still have these responsibilities that you have to adhere to. I would just suggest a transition period, like be patient, be strategic about how you exit a job. Do you know what I mean? Just do all the things that seems to be a good idea. Don't just do cold feet and get all stressed and go into fear and scarcity and panicking about money and things like that. That's just silly. So I'm a very sort of practical, grounded, spiritual person. So I'm like, look, just put your levers in place. Just do it. Be mature and strategic about your things and exits, how you're going to do things. Make sure you're safe with money and things like that. And then start taking action. From a higher perspective, I would say, so this is the thing, right? This is how the law of attraction works. So as soon as you put out a message into the universe and say, show me the way, show me what my next step is, I desire this. You're like, I want to do this. It is immediate. There is no delay.
Yeah.
Really. So if you believe that you can get shown whatever that is, maybe you bump into an old friend down the road that you haven't seen for 20 years who invites you to this event, and then, something happens there, and then something happens there. It can be immediate. So if you raise your awareness and consciousness to the level that you think is possible now, I can have this now, as in like I can get the signs now, then you will.
Yeah.
And this is the most important part, because there is no roadmap as such, because your path will be different than mine, Jenna. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You will have different stepping stones than mine. They will all be similar in the same way as like we are wanting to expand and learn more and do better, but they're going to look different for everyone. So we have to trust that intuition is going to take us to the places that we need to go, and we need to follow it.
I love it.
That's like the one big thing, because many people get the intuitive nudges and then they don't follow them, and that's where it goes wrong.
Yes, exactly.
So we could argue what is intuition and what's gut feeling and what's fear, but we can maybe, that could be another question, I suppose. But yeah, so that's really the answer. Yeah.
Something you said, you have to believe it, because I completely agree. You can achieve, or you can make happen anything that you desire in your mind, because you wouldn't desire it if it wasn't possible for you. So as you said, like as soon as you think, right, I'd love that, it's already done. It's in the vortex. It's just about aligning your vibration, like aligning yourself up so that actually comes into reality. But the key piece is you have to believe it's possible for you. Yes. And if you don't believe, then it's your subconscious mind that creates and helps you get there, because your subconscious mind is connected. It's the bit that helps you with the intuition and everything. So if you don't believe, number one, believe it's possible. Number two, believe that you are worthy.
Yeah.
Then it's not going to happen. So the key piece is the belief.
Yeah, absolutely. The keys. And this is what's so interesting. And you know this because obviously you do hypnotherapy, but 95% of our reality is created by the subconscious mind. So we really need to master that piece, because that's actually the piece that's creating everything that we experience, pretty much.
It's such a game changer, isn't it? When you realize that you are creating your own reality, and you look at the things that you've experienced, and then you're like, wow, all the people that you've manifested into your life to learn from.
Sure.
Oh, it's so eye-opening.
Yeah. And everything is possible. Like if there is resistance to some sort of receiving, this is really interesting, because there's so much resistance to receiving higher cash and things like that for some entrepreneurs, right? I just want to give you an example. And I think we all have sort of limiting beliefs around certain things that we should receive, whether that is love, money, safety, abundance, like whatever it is. But this is so interesting. So when there's no attachment, or like there is no negative belief about receiving something, it can instantly manifest. And I just want to give you that as an example. I was thinking the listeners will like this. This is what has been going on for me the whole year. I've been thinking things like, okay, I should really write a book now. So, and not thinking too much about it, just like, it's time to start putting everything into place. Anyway, long story short, last few months, I was in a mastermind with somebody, and they had a book coach. I didn't know, we're just in conversation. And then like within 10 days of me thinking that, I was signed up with this shamanic book coach who's like a channeler. Perfect for me, because I couldn't just go with anyone. And we finished all the chapters. We've done everything now. I just need to finish all the writing. It's like, what? I just thought it, and there it appeared, because for my higher purpose, this is a part of the plan, right? So it just fell in.
Yeah.
So this is with everything. Even if you want to work with specific clients, if you believe that you can work with certain level of clients that you want to really, you want to work with because they are high level or an ideal client, you just got to think of them as you are ready to receive them now, and they will turn up. And then you just take the normal sort of aligned action. Of course, we can't just sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
And they will turn up. Yeah. Like literally. So it works. It really works.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Instant manifestation. Yeah.
Yeah. I've experienced it loads as well. And it's just so cool to be just like, oh, I'd love that. That would be great. And then carry on with your day. And then the opportunity shows up and you're like, it's just incredible. And like you say, there is literally no difference between a big manifestation or a small manifestation, and time as well. Like, when you are thinking, oh, I'd love to write a book, but that must be a next year thing. Well, it doesn't have to be. You slow it down. You create resistance by thinking, oh, it's not going to happen for 5 years or whatever.
Yeah. You rationalize something, like you're intellectualizing something when you really meant to just feel it intuitively and just follow. Yeah. Wonderful.
So I have written down here scarcity and fear, because I'm really blessed that I don't struggle with this at all, but I know so many people do. How do you deal with scarcity and fear, the mindset, and getting out of that?
Yeah. So when it happens, I mean, step one, I would say, is acknowledgement. Like, you go, okay, fear is coming in. This is interesting. I'm being triggered. I get anxiety. My heart rate is going up. Like, there is something coming in. So like, you're acknowledging that your body is responding in a certain way. Take a few deep breaths and go, this is interesting. Then ask yourself, am I safe? Yes, I am safe. Is it good? Yes, it's good. And I would, when that arises, like, I'm the same as you. I'm very blessed in a way. I think I've worked on it, I suppose, because I don't get the scarcity and the fear anymore. And if I do, it's just like a moment. But I remember when it did happen, I always went back to myself in meditation and just calmed myself down. I did my own tools, and energy clearing, or just went for a long walk and just being in the moment, and try not to overthink, or go and see a friend, like just distract myself as well, to actually take myself out of that rut. That's it's like a practical tool, just to go and do something else that is like disrupting the pattern. But then on a long-term sort of like tool, if you like, the more evidence, it's almost like the more evidence your brain gets that every time it's fearful and you take action and disrupt the pattern and do something else, and then it worked out great, you then have emotional and brain evidence almost like that it's fine. So I would say, it sounds a bit sort of counterintuitive, but if somebody has fear, disrupt the pattern and then go and do the daring thing in perfect action. If that means that you have to talk to your coach or like do something in order to do that, I don't like saying have the fear and do it anyway, because it's obviously deeper than that. But I would take the support that you have, so that you can go and prove to yourself that every time that fear comes up, it's just your brain trying to keep you safe, disrupt a pattern, and then go and do the opposite to show yourself that. And then you start having evidence, and then your brain starts thinking differently, because it goes, oh yeah, that's an old, it's an old neural pattern. I don't need to do that anymore. And then just go, oh yeah, this is working. Everything works. Like, so I believe it is a training, like, go and learning riding the bike.
And the comfort zone thing, isn't it? It's like the more you're willing to get out of your comfort zone, an entrepreneur, you have to get so comfortable with being uncomfortable, because otherwise you're just going to stay stuck in the slow lane. And if you've got a big vision and you really want to go for it, and well, I know that you'll believe this too, like, you've got to go with your intuition, because it's your intuition that knows that bigger picture, and it's giving you the answers via your intuition. So when you follow that and you don't let the sort of catastrophic type, oh no, what would so-and-so think be? No, that's just your primitive brain trying to keep you safe and keep you playing it small. But we have this caveman brain that only cares about keeping us alive. It does not care about us having an amazing business and creating a huge impact in the world or any of that. It just doesn't care. So it's like, yes, you're gonna have that, and if the more you listen to it, the harder it's going to be.
Exactly.
And actually, if you can get to a place where you really trust your intuition, that as soon as you hear it, you go for it. And your brain doesn't hold, like, it doesn't recognize the hesitation, because as soon as your brain notices hesitation, it will jump on that and it will magnify risk.
Exactly. So surely, you're probably more trained on the brain, although I have, my own qualifications in what I do. But I would say that the train of thought, it's like a habit, like anything else. So if we trust intuition and follow the train of intuition more and more, it becomes like a stronger muscle.
Absolutely. 100%. I have completely experienced that myself in the past 9 months, should we say. Like, it's definitely so much stronger now. And it's down to following it. Like, the more you follow it, the stronger it gets, and the more you can trust. Not the more you can trust it, but like, I don't need to try. I just know that I recognize when it comes. I'm like, okay, got to do that, because I know that it's a good idea, because the intuition is always a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I totally, and I do that as well. I note some things down as well. Things come in and I'm like, yeah, that feels so clear. I feel so crystal clear and strong. I might not action it that day. For example, today, I just started on TikTok, but my guides, or my higher self, my intuition was telling me, you've got to start a separate TikTok account just on light body, because it's something that I do. And I thought, well, is that? And they're like, no, you've got to just do that. And it's into the Facebook group of the light body. It's just like that thing, because there's people looking for that. And I'm like, okay. So obviously I haven't actioned it today. I haven't started a new TikTok account today. I will do it, but it's like, yeah, that's clear. So we're doing that. So I'm just that's how I lead myself anyway in the business. Totally. Yeah.
My next question, Gennye, is what is light body work? I know my listeners will be like, what is that?
Okay, so this is something that I do. Light body it's a modality. So it's almost like, you got hypnotherapy is that modality, or I do divine healing. Some people do theta healing. It's like a modality. So light body work is a modality. It is a state-of-the-art awakening tool. If we want to go way out there now, it was channeled by a lady called Achira Tachiren, and she was channeling Archangel Ariel. So Archangel Ariel brought this to Earth, if you like, quite a few years ago now. And then she trained practitioners in doing it. And then I've been trained to do light body activations. They are, in summary, state-of-the-art tools to embody unity consciousness. That means we remove separation consciousness that keeps us stuck in fear and all those things, and embody more of the higher self and the unity consciousness into ourselves, because our human cells are programmed to pull in polarity. So fear, lack, competition, all that. So we are programmed to duality because it's how we live in this world and have been living in this world until now. So for us to embody unity consciousness and become both within duality and hold both frequencies at the same time, we've got to really reduce the duality, like the polarity consciousness within us, which is what we do with the light body, which means that when we are in unity with ourselves, with the soul, and in harmony and balance within us, that's also, masculine, feminine, we become, I call it force with source. We become force with source. And it's just easier. Like, it is just like this incredible unlocking mechanism to accelerate somebody's, not just their mission, but their power, how they can hold higher levels of light and impact more people, because they become more powerful in their frequency, actually. And that frequency and that energy, I believe, going forward is going to change. Like, I have this massive vision that the more people having light body work, it just means that more of their mission, more of their divine plan will come through, and we speed up, the change of the planet. So that's my big thing. So I'm not going to go into details what we do in the sessions and everything, but that's technically what it is. And it is energy work. So it's actually, I'm working energetically on people doing the work through command codes and through etheric surgery and just working with the energies. So yeah, it's a hands-on thing.
It sounds amazing.
I know. Yeah. It is amazing. It's like, it's truly unlocking. Yeah. So
I don't know where to go from there, Gennye. That just sounds I want to end this podcast so I can talk to you about it. That sounds awful, doesn't it? Sorry, listeners. Oh, honestly, it's just like mind-blowing what is possible, because what you were saying about we're all stuck in fear, well, from my perspective and what I know and what I see and what I teach on, it's helping people do the subconscious reprogramming to unlearn all of the shit that, I'm not going to apologize, I swear on this podcast. to unlearn all of the shit that they have programmed themselves with, like as kids, not program themselves, but in life as a kid, you cannot not acquire a bunch of limiting beliefs, whether it's just through living in society or, growing up in, normal families, whatever. Like we all end up with limiting beliefs, and most of us to some degree have this I am not good enough piece, or I am not worthy, or whatever it is, and it holds us back from a lot of the time. And this is why, like, I channeled the newer name of this podcast, Bigger Than You, because there are people out there who know that they are destined to bring something, to birth something, whether it's a business idea or something. They have a higher calling, but they are so held back by their fear and their overthinking, and all of the fear comes from limiting beliefs that you have picked up at some point during childhood.
Yeah, so I love that, because again, it goes back to the acknowledging piece that we are perfect as we are. We just need to understand where the limitations are and say, yeah, it's part of like human sort of how we are made up. And I'm going to be really curious about now how I can clear that and remove that, from my life or change it, basically. So instead of feeling shame or guilt, because that's like the lowest frequency feelings that you can have, they're like lowest of the lowest. It's really not a good place to be.
Yeah.
So instead of putting shame and guilt around how you are or how you behave, instead go, that's interesting. How can I change it? So it's just like the approach, and also say we all have them. No one escapes the limiting beliefs. It's just a part of human, conversation. So I think because it's about letting yourself off the hook, because it's very hard to be. If you think that you're going to be so hard on yourself and you're judging yourself and you're thinking, I'm not good enough, or I'm not, just knowing that we're all in the same boat. Just got to take responsibility really for our own journey.
Yeah.
And take the hypnotherapy, or take the healing, or take the coaching, take the reprogramming programs to do the work.
Yeah.
So that you can blossom, so that you can really expand into your highest potential. That's like the key. And don't be afraid, because we all do it. I look at those. I know some, entrepreneurs that have done really well financially, and they've all done it. Gosh, they would not be where they are unless they've done the deep inner work.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, no one can escape it, and just go bite the bullet, just do it, invest in yourself, however that looks. And just get on with it. It's going to be great,
Yeah, and so it makes such a difference. Not only does it like reprogram your limiting beliefs, but it makes you enjoy what you're doing so much more. Like to live in I feel so blessed. I'm not going to say lucky, because like we touched on before, I'm not this way out of luck. I've done my own inner work. I've done my healing so that I can run my business from a place of freedom. Like I don't ever worry. Like I don't fall into that scarcity mindset, and it's just such a joy to just completely trust. And it's just so worth it. Like it just feels great to be in this place, and that's why I'm here. Like that's my higher calling, to help more people feel like that, so they don't hold themselves back, so that they can create a deeper impact.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally say. And just going back to the title of this podcast today, the surrendering piece. I think surrender is such a powerful word, isn't it? Because surrender includes trust, includes love, it includes safety. That word really sort of emanates so much. And I believe also as entrepreneurs, balance is huge, because we are such, we push the edge, right? You wouldn't be an entrepreneur unless you were curious, or unless you wanted to change the world. or create freedom, you wouldn't do it. So I feel balance within ourselves and give ourselves, really take care of ourselves is massive. Self-care, take great boundaries so that you don't overwork. Like lots of self-care and lots of self-love through this is so important, because that really creates this space where we can really feel into what we're feeling and then go, there's my intuition coming in.
Yeah.
So if we work too hard and if we do too much, there's no space to feel into the intuition. Yeah. And it's just a beautiful balance. Like we've got to get this balance. I overworked in the beginning because I was so determined to make it work. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have been there. Like they've worked so hard to get to where they want to go. And then they go, oh gosh, this is knackering. But I feel that's long term, that's really has to happen. The self-love and care and really take balance in life.
Yeah, I'm so pleased you said that. That's the theme that's been coming through a lot recently, and it's so true, because if you don't look after yourself, you create that resistance, you lose that spaciousness, you don't hear the intuition, and therefore you make it harder because you don't allow yourself to be supported by the universe, and so you're just creating resistance and slowing yourself down. You don't have to see the bigger picture. So there is this expansion, flow, and sort of surrendering. It's like this big expansive energy. And then anything is feminine energy, obviously. And then all the masculine is like hard, structured, now, focus, actually creates a constriction. So it's about allowing the expansion, more leaning back, receiving is like massive. Yeah. I'm going to ask you, Gennye, one final thing for the listeners. Could you share a piece of inspired action? Like what one thing could they take action on after hearing you speak to them today? What would you recommend?
Whatever that thing is that you do that allows that intuitive nudge to come in, do that. Mine is hoovering. I can't tell you.
I know it.
I'm hoovering.
Mine most certainly isn't.
I'm like, oh my God, this download's coming in hoovering. Yes, I love it.
A very clean house.
Yeah, I'm a very clean. No, so whatever that is, going on the yoga mat, playing with the cat, I don't know, sing in the shower, like whatever that activity is that is connecting you to your higher power. Do it. Like do it every day. Yeah. I don't hoover every day. I have other ways, like I sit in meditation, I'll get it as well. But whatever that thing is, go and do that. Yeah. Go and do that. And just plug out from trying to work it out. And allow yourself just to be, receive it, and then take action on it. That's like the thing. Yeah. All who's listening today will have one thing that you're like, yeah, that's when it happens for me. Yeah. And if you don't know, if you're listening and you don't know, just put the to-do list in the drawer and go outside for a walk or a run or a swim, or just do something that you enjoy that makes you forget about the time. Yes. And then you'll be in that flow state and your subconscious mind will be working in the background of the things that you want to achieve, will be in a rehearsal mode, and boom, you will get an idea. And it might not be during that swim or that walk or whatever. It might not be during, but know that you have created space by doing that thing. You've created space and it will drop in. Exactly. Absolutely. Cool. And could you please share, if somebody wants to come and find you, where can they find you? Okay, so you have the show notes. I've actually got like a soul business activation bundle, and it is an energy clearing. So that will definitely, if anyone's like, oh, how do I get this download? If you go and do that energy clearing, you will definitely get it. I also have a prosperity activation in there, and then it's a worksheet on your niche. So it's like a little bundle for entrepreneurs. Go and get it. You can go and get it there. Brilliant. Thank you. I'll put the link that they need in the show notes. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gennye. Thank you so much for having me. See you next week.